Welcome back to the channel. Bit of a progress update on Project X. So I've got it on the ramp. We've got time to service it today, so got it running, just warming up at the moment. Walk underneath and we'll see what we find. So at the back, I mentioned in the first video, if you've watched it, that the subframe and springs are a bit crusty. So the paint is basically come off them, they're corroded, but they've not broken or they've not sagged, so they're still good. Spring cups, not rotted through. On these on Mondeos, they tend to get perforated, start like getting holes in them there, but they're okay. Drop links are good. A ball joint there, ball joint at the bottom there. No play in them. I did check it on the ramp the other day. No play in that. The D bushes for the anti-roll bar are okay. Low mileage, so the bushes and stuff, even though there is a possibility of them perishing because of age, because it's like 20 years old, they've not perished, so they're in good nick. Exhaust, good condition. Still pretty shiny there. Clamping good condition. Tank straps surprisingly good. Bit of road salt and stuff on there. Handbrake cable, that's just a sheathing, flexible steel sheath. Brake pipes, thankfully, covered in grease, so that saved them from getting weather on them and stuff like that. Air conditioning still works. Suspension bushes there, are still good. And longitudinal arms. Lower shock absorber bushes, they can perish on these and they can rattle around, creating like knocking noises at the back, but these are in good condition still. Shock absorbers, casing's a bit crusty, but they're not leaking or anything. That there is just a bit of surface corrosion. You wipe that off, you see it's still shiny metal underneath, so no issues there. Fuel filter's a Marley filter, and it's still good condition, but we don't know how old it is, so it's going to be changed. Have a look at the front subframe, bit of crust on it. Actually looks worse on camera than it does in reality. Top bit here still full of the satin paint. The factory, that's not been redone, so that's a pretty good nick. Air conditioning, drain off water going on the head, which indicates the aircon is working really well. No leaks on the engine, no leaks on the gearbox. CV gate is good. Flexible brake lines, no perishing or anything on there. Suspension arm again crusty, but the bush is still in good condition. Front anti-roll bar drop links are good, no play in those. The way I tested it is you can either put a bar in between there and there to move the bar up and down, which will show up any free play in the ball joints, or grab the bar itself and push it up and down quite firm, and that'll reveal anything that's got any play in it. And they seem fine. Tractor end's good, gate is all good on them, no play in them. CV gate is good on this side. See the Ford stamp on the casted and the alloy torque mount there on the gearbox. Some of the stuff is stamped Jaguar, like the front hub sections that shock absorbers push into. They've actually got Jaguar stamped on them, which indicate they probably are very similar to Mondale. There will be some slight differences though, so anything that's got Jaguar stamped on it and hasn't got Ford on it, they may look the same, but they will be slightly different. Top arm's okay, like a cast steel item, always going to get surface corrosion on them, but they're still in good condition. Fuel filler pipes crusty, but they've not got holes in them. Bodywork is overall pretty good. Until you get to the sills, you can see it's got under seal on there. That's been patched. I'm not sure about that. That's definitely been patched there. Crusty, but they've not gone through though, so say for purposes of an MOT, we're pushing hard there, they're still good. You're only allowed to use finger and thumb pressure to test it. It's not supposed to get a hammer and start smashing away at them until they get holes in them. Finger and thumb pressure, just check them. If they end up moving, or you put a hole in them with your finger and thumb, then they fail the MOT. If they're within the area of suspension mounts, or seatbelt mounts, or subframe mounts. But they look pretty solid. Oh, hello. Oh, hello. What's going on here? Hang on. Oh God. Hang on, what is this? No, we have a hole. Oh God. I knew it's too good to be true. I knew it was. Oh, Christ. Christ on a bike. Look at this. That there is just the wing, front wing, which we replaced anyway, so that's not structural. The sill underneath is still good. This bit here though is the sill, and that does need repairing for the MOT. Right, that I believe is the only bit that needs doing, which is a damn shame because the rest of it's good. I don't know why the sills go so badly on these. It must be the grade of steel they use. I don't believe they were using Tata steel back then because Tata didn't own them, and they do use Tata steel on the newer Jags like 2008 or 9 onwards or something like that, and you could tell on the subframes because it's not the best quality and they do corrode quite badly, unlike the XFs and stuff like that. And on the Evokes, very quiet engine, very quiet indeed. Tyres all in good nick. Bumper's still all done with its original fasteners. So that's it for the walk around underneath. Time to crack on with the service. Right, time to get the engine oil out. So 13mm sump plug, just like you find in a Ford. Breaker bar, socket, pull it off. Come on, let's see what this oil looks like because I don't know when it was changed last. So the current owner's only had it a couple of months or so he's certainly not had it done. So it might be the first oil change he's had in years. It probably won't be too bad. Being a petrol, it's not going to be like jet black. Come on. Come on. There we go. That's not bad at all. You still see through it, which means it's not been carbonised or anything like that. There's plenty in there. 5.8 litres of 530 fully synthetic. Drain out for a bit. Engine's up to temperature. I'm not putting a oil flush in this before I drop it out because it's low mileage. I'm not going to start putting additives and stuff in this. You probably won't need it. As I'm aware, they're not known for clogging up or anything in the sumps on these if they've been looked after, so there's no need to put stuff in to thin the oil out, so I'll just do it naturally. Some plug fell off then. Right. There it is. Okay, and the end of there is a rubber seal. So I shall be replacing that rubber seal as I do with every service. We keep them in stock. Lovely clean oil actually, you can see through it there. Very nice. Okay, you'll see oil's draining. Just run through the filters we're using. So we're using MAN filters. And these are basically OE spec filters because if you're familiar with servicing cars, like probably mainly European cars, I don't know, you've got MAN part numbers and stuff like that on the stamped into the filter housings, because OE equipment stuff is generally MAN but with their own manufacturer's stamp put on it or next to the MAN part number. So that's the oil filter we're using, the 719/36. Looks the same size as the one that's coming off it, so I presume that's the correct one. And because of the lack of access, it's not too bad. It's only there, but I can't get the normal hand strap thing on it, so I have to use a claw, which is this thing here, which I may or may not be able to do one-handed. So I'm going to put the phone down for this and continue when I took the filter off. Okay, it's now been loosened. Oil is still draining into the oil pan here, oil drainer. So I shall loosen this, and it's probably going to go all over the floor unless I'm careful with it. Let's have a look, see, shall we? Come on. Oh, is it coming out? There we go. Oh, there we go. All over the floor. Damn it. Lands nicely on the hot exhaust and catalytic converter there. Very good indeed. Right, if we get this off quick enough, a bit like ripping a plaster off, just do it quick. Ouch, it's hot. Oh, that's so hot. Oh my god, how long is this thread? Oh god, right, there we go. Ooh, red hot oil all over my hands. Yeah, ouch. Right, after I clean this mess up, I shall continue. Okay, back to service. Some plug without a seal on it. There's a new seal. Nice and fat and round. That bit there in the centre, the hole, should push tightly onto the threads when it's on. And there is a very slight gap between the outer edge and the beginning of the seal, but when you compress it, when you tighten it up, that will seal up, so that's how it's designed. So I've put that back in, a little bit of lube already on there, and the oil's drained out, the oil's clean enough so that will not have any large deposits of grit in it or anything from the engine. So it up by hand and just nip it up with the breaker bar, which I shall get. There would be a torque setting for this. I don't know what it is. You just do it so it sort of stops. There we go. It's tight enough. I will be cleaning that off with a bit of brake cleaner, as well as not enough in here to weigh it down. The part where the oil filter sits, just in there. Always important to clean this off, otherwise you end up with oil burning off forever and a day from the residue left on the exhaust, and in extreme cases risk of a fire. But mainly just bad smells and stuff like that. To fill that container back up. Right, I seem to have the old oil seal stuck on the filter housing there. Always important to check these things. Rarely it happens, but it does. Nice and clean in there. New filter. Dab of oil on the O-ring there. Stop it seizing on for the next poor soul that has to do this. Start it off by hand. Have to spin it on. If you ever come across a filter and it isn't winding on, there's a possibility the threads may be different, because some cars have metric, some have imperial threads. Normally stuff from like mid 70s, early 80s I should imagine. But don't ever force one on, or you might have a different pitch of metric thread. Again, don't force them on. And don't use tools either, just put them on your hand, give it about a quarter of a turn or so, just so it nips up quite tight. Now it's made a seal, so I'll wash that off with a brake cleaner and where the sump plug is, and it's ready to put some oil in it. Okay, next part of the service, excuse me, is the fuel filter, which sits at the back here. Held on this 8mm bolt. To clamp the filter into the car. There we go, because this is low mileage, it's not all crusty. Got that. I've got goggles on for this, like radioactive man of wear. Got these things here, press the blue tabs in theory they should just release. I'll put the phone down in a second. fuel everywhere. My God. That's why you wear goggles. Oh shit, it's still coming out. Right, that fuel sprayed out at that high pressure because whatever's pressure's held in the fuel line tends to be held on the fuel rail. It's held in the line to the filter. That's why it's always important to put goggles on, because fuel in the eyes really stings. You can feel it, your eyeballs shrinking if you ever get fuel in your eyes. We'll abandon the camera a second while I do the other one. Oh, more fuel. Holy moly. Oh, right. Okay, just let that drain out. Right, you need to observe the direction of flow. And that's got an arrow pointing downwards. That goes to the front of the car. Obviously coming from the fuel pump to the fuel rail in the engine bay. Pop off these caps and the new filter. One there. Come on. Continue. Here we go. Right, so basically push that in there. Make sure it makes a positive click. Come on. That'll be easy. There we go. That made a clicking noise. Same with the other end. Twist. Gently click. There we go. Basically back on with a bolt to clamp it, and that's the fuel filter done. You might have to prime the ignition once or twice just to get it to go to the fuel rail. Otherwise it'll crank a few times before it starts, and that may chuck up a fuel pressure fault code on the engine ECU. So always best to prime it a couple times before you first fire it up. Right, next job on the list is air filter, which sits behind this housing here. Put the oil in, check the dipstick, level's perfect. Right, so this is held in with these 8mm here, or are they 7s? I shall get the correct size tool. Oh, they are 7s, god damn. Yeesh. Okay, 7mm. Wind that out gently. As with that one. Take the bracket off, keep them in there. Put them on top of here. Release this clip here. These are reusable. Just put a hook tool in very gently. Pop it and it'll undo itself like that. Leave that dangling over there at the moment. Pull the rubber bit off there. Release the air flow meter. Interruption there from the colleague filming. Are you on film, Aidan?
Candy camera, is it?
Candy camera. You're going to go you're national on YouTube. Working on our Project X, you know, yeah?
The scrapper. I mean, nice one.
Get this darn plug off. Come on. There we go. Right, that plug's released and the airbox pulls out of these two ventricles at the front. One there, one there. Push on there. Underneath there. Put the camera down a second. Pick this up in a minute. Right, back to wrestling with this airbox. Undo these screws. Phillips screws, they don't come out of the box, they stay in the lid. So you loosen them, they stay in there. Okay, that's off, there we go. I bet the air filter's like new. Not bad. Let's see if there's a date stamp on it. Marla filter, 2016, so that's 7 years old. Marla are another good brand, make. Aha, this is revealed now. So, that concertina bit you can see there is held on with these screws here, I think. I have done these before, honestly. It's just been a while since I've done them. There we go. And over there. Let's see if this will release now. There we go. Right, and now we can get to the front bank of plugs, which are 8mm, to hold the coils in. So, I shall put 8mm socket back on said gun and release these. 1, 2, 3. So this front bank here, quite easy to do. The back bank is buried under the inlet manifold. So due to the mileage, they're probably not due until like 40,000 or so, but obviously they're old plugs, so I'm just going to double check if they appear to be fine, they're going back in, because it saves the customer money and it saves me having to do them, because I don't get paid any extra, I just get paid a flat rate, so no benefit to me doing them. And I shall make a note in his service book as to what we found. Plug socket, which is, I don't know, I think they're called, I think it's a 16mm magnetic socket. Long extension, 3/8 size. And there, like so. Try and do this one-handed. Oh god, they're tight. Oh god, they are tight. You put them in. Use a little breaker bar to get these off. There we go. Right, that's one released. Second one. God, they've been put in a bit too tight, I think. Leave it there. Let's get these out and have a look, shall we? Sometimes, if they use like a platinum tip plug or something like that, they're like a long life and they don't need doing it to 40 or even 60,000 depending on what vehicle it is. Let's have a look. See if I can zoom in on that. I used to have an old Nokia before this, and the camera on it was 10 times better than this sodding thing. So these are PTR 6D13, so that's a 1.3mm gap on this, which is quite big actually. We'll check those against the new ones and we'll come back to these plugs. Okay, after checking auto data, the interval for changing the spark plugs on these is a whopping 70,000 miles. So I took the first 3 plugs out of this bank, checked the gaps on them, inspected them, and they seem fine. The car runs fine, so I'm not going to mess around, I'm going to leave them in. If they need doing at a later date, which I doubt they will do because this car won't do much mileage, then I'll change them, but I'm not changing them for no good reason. Right, so back to this band clamp here that you can reuse. I'm going to try and position the phone now so we can see it. I haven't got my tripod today. So, if I put that there. There's a little cutout actually for it to sit in the rubber. Use a pair of pincers. That type. Put that on there. There we go. Reused. A lot of people I've seen take these off, throw them in the bin, and put a horrible, cheap tubular clip on. Not even a decent one, and they look a mess. So it's nice to keep them original looking. Right, so oil filter, air filter, fuel filter's done, fresh oil in it. I'm going to top up the screen wash. The cabin filter is under there somewhere, as is a Mark III Mondeo's. Whereas in a Mondeo you've got to take a series of T30 torque screws out and half the panel comes off to access it. This appears to be different, so I have to try and get these plastic poppers off and gain access to it that way. Okay, just to conclude the service on the video, just going to do a test on the antifreeze and a test on the brake fluid. So the brake fluid, I'm going to be using this device, which is a brake fluid tester, which is testing the water percentage that the brake fluid absorbs, because over the years brake fluid absorbs water. It's hydrophobic, I think it is, something like that. And I'm using this brake fluid tester for it. So in this case I've just taken the cap off. .4 fluid, quite green in colour actually. Put the two prongs in, press the button. Oh well, look at that. Instant fail. 4% water in that fluid, so it will need a fluid change. Put that back on. Now for a antifreeze strength test. There we go, just take that off to relieve the pressure. Rubber seal's sticking a bit, come on please, don't fight. There we go. There. I'm using a refractometer for this, so you look through a spy hole. I don't know if you can see that. You can see the graph in there, just slightly. And this is used for testing screen wash and antifreeze. So put this little teat pipette in there, or whatever it's called. I used to call them that at school. Put a little bit on the lens of the device, put the excess in there. Keep it on there. Close this onto there. And I shall look through it, and that is minus 21 degrees Celsius. Hard to see on camera, you can just see it there, minus 21, so I say that's probably good enough. It doesn't need changing anyway. If it's like minus 5 or 10 then it would do, because obviously you get wind chill factor on the engine block and the radiator. In the cooler winter that can exceed minus 5 and minus 10, but minus 21 should be sufficient enough. So I will not mess around with the coolant, I'll leave that as it is. Wipe up a couple of drips. These items can be purchased fairly cheap now. They used to be quite expensive, for about 15 quid for something like that, and about 10 for something like the brake fluid tester. Okay, thank you all for watching. So the service is concluded. I will check the brakes when it's on the ramp, because it's having to have a little tiny bit of welding done on those sills to get it through the MOT. So I'll take the wheels off when it's up in the air again, do a brake fluid change on it, weld the seals, and it'll be in for an MOT. And fingers crossed, I'm 99.9% sure it's going to pass. I shall see you next time. Thank you for watching.